Meow?
Meow. I was teaching at what's now called Riverland Community College back then. This was in the mid 70s, and I had fasted all Sunday. This was, I belonged to a Pentecostal church at that time. It was cool to fast. And I wrote some heartfelt letters, and I wanted them to get in the mail before I started my teaching week the next morning. It must have been October. There was a really bad rainstorm outside with a howling wind. It was about 11 p.m. I decided to drive to the mailbox, throw my letters in, so they'd go out the next day. So I put on my raincoat, I put on my rain hat, put on a scarf around my neck, I put on my gloves, and I grabbed my letters, tucked them under my arm, hopped in my car, drove up to the drive-up mailbox, rolled down the window. I don't remember if I threw in my letters or this was before I threw in my letters, but I heard meow, meow, really close by. And there was nothing close by except this mailbox. So I listened again. Meow, meow. Sure enough, the meowing was coming from the mailbox. This horrified me. I checked to see when the mail would be picked up. It wasn't till, 10 a.m. the next day, and I thought, bad things could happen to the mail between now and then. But I really thought, what a horrible place for a kitten on a night like this, or on any night. So I thought, I need to do something. I decided I would go to the police. So I said, I don't know why I said this, I said, "Don't go away, kitty, I'll be right back." And I rolled up the window and I started driving. I said, God, give me an idea. I got the idea. And I drove back to the mailbox, rolled down the window, took off the scarf from around my neck, fed it through the mail slot, and then I waited. And then I felt a little tug, and then another tug, and then another tug. And then this furry ball sprang from the mailbox opening across the Great Divide, through my car window and onto my neck, and I have never experienced such gratitude from a nonverbal animal in my life. Meow, 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 meow. So I took it home, and at that time, I had Lurch, the hunchback club-footed cockatiel, whom you may have heard about, depending on which stories you've listened to already. So I wasn't quite at ease leaving the kitten there with Lurch. Didn't want to shut him up in his itty-bitty canary cage. Also, this is another story that occurs to me. I had a one-winged dove living with me that winter named Donna. So, and this house had only two doors, one for the bedroom and one for the bathroom. So I don't remember how I divvied up the critters, but anyway, I made sure that the kitten would not get at either bird. I knew I couldn't keep it, so I made a poster at school, and it read, "For sale, house broken, black kitten, 5 cents." Because I figured I wasn't in it for the money, but if you pay something, you're more apt to take it seriously and be a good caregiver. And I said, apply to Miss Larson Language Department. And I interviewed 3 students, and I picked one, a young fellow whose father was a vet in Albury. And I said, yes, if you would come back after lunch, I'll have the kitten. And he showed up, and I showed up, and we made the transfer. But he said, I'm very embarrassed, but I don't have any money on me. I said, you have an honest face? When you have a nickel, come by. Well, he didn't come by. Weeks went past. And I decided one day, I'd forgotten about him, to go down to the cafeteria and have a cup of coffee. And I was sitting there, and this fellow walked up, and it was that student, and he said, "I'm so embarrassed that I never paid you," and he gave me the nickel. And he told me that this was he thought, a very intuitive cat. His father had given it a once-over. His father was the vet. And it had been eaten, it had been fed straw. It had straw in its intestines, or else it was so hungry that it ate straw. But anyway, he got, and it had a sodium deficiency. But it got all straightened out. And it was a cat that had a kind of a sixth sense and was very black. And he just thought it was a very unusual cat and well worth the 5 cents. End of story.